When you're given a pie chart with different percents and you're asked to calculate a certain value, you can always do it using this triangle here. And you can use this for any percent problem. And here's how you'll label it. The bottom left is the total or the bigger amount. The bottom right, the percent, if you know that. And the smaller amount or the part will go up top. We just need to know two of these three things to find the final answer here. So let's see what we're given. Time spent on activities by park rangers, they spend their time in these percents. During a 50-hour work week, how many hours does a park ranger spend on visitor assistance? But this will be perfect, because we're given that they work 50 hours. That's going to be their total for the week. So let's draw a new triangle, and we'll put 50 bottom left, since that's their total hours that they work. Next, how many hours do they spend on visitor assistance? Well, the only thing we know about visitor assistance is that represents 30% of their time. So we do know the percent. Therefore, we'll put that bottom right, 30% there. But finally, how many hours do they actually spend on visitor assistance? That's the same thing as what part of their job they spend doing this task. So that's the missing part up top here. We'll go ahead and leave that blank. But that's it, because once you know two of these, you can find the third one. Here's how they're all connected to each other. If they're next to each other, they're multiplied. So for this problem, we're going to multiply 50 times 30% to find how many hours they spend on this part of their job here. So let's go ahead and use the calculator to find this out. Okay, we'll start with 50. This is the exact calculator that they'll give you for the GED, by the way, times 30. Then to get the percent, notice it's in green right here. Just hit the green button first, and then that one to get it to show up. Okay, then enter. So 15, and that's the final answer. 15 of their hours are spent on visitor assistance. In other words, that's the part of their job that they spend on this task here. But if you're like, wait a minute, do we know that answer is true for sure? That's the beauty of the triangle, is you can check it. You could do the top divided by the bottom, and that should give you the percent. So let's do 15 divided by 50. Make sure that gives us 30% as a way to verify. Okay, let's clear. We'll do 15, the top, divided by the bottom, part divided by the total, and enter. That gives us 30 cents. Same thing as 30%. Or you could even use this button here, second, this guy, to convert it into a percent if it's a decimal. And doing that, it does show us that's 30%. So now we know for sure if they spend 50 hours and 30% of that is done on visitor assistance, that comes out to 15 hours exactly. So not too bad once you know where to plug things in for a percent problem. Let's go ahead and practice with one more. Once again, we're given a pie chart with certain percents, and we're asked to calculate a certain amount here. Sounds like we're going to be able to use our triangle again. This time, you start a retirement account and divide your money into these investments: mutual funds, cash, and bonds. If you have $4,182 invested in mutual funds, how much money do you have in this account total? Well, this is interesting because now we want to find the total in the account, so we want to find the bottom left value. Let's redraw this triangle. We'll put a question mark down there. So what else do we know? Well, we've got $4,182 invested in mutual funds. So is this just part of our money or the total? Well, it's definitely part, because it's represented by mutual funds, and those are 55%. Anytime you have a certain amount that represents less than 100%, that one's going to go up top as the part right here. Okay, and like we said, we know that that's 55%, so we'll put that bottom right there. But that's it, because now we've got top. We could do divided by the bottom to find out the total in this account here. Once again, we'll break out the calculator. So we'll do 4182, the top, divided by the percent, 55, second left parenthesis, and enter. 7603. Closest answer is going to be B. They just bump this up 60 cents, they round it to $1 and call it 4 right there. So 7,604, that's the total amount in this account right here. And again, we could verify, we could multiply these two and it'll give us 4182, or extremely close to it since we rounded a little bit. A fitness center records how members spend their time. They notice that members spend twice as much time lifting weights as doing yoga. Let's go ahead and pause here. We want to find which of these shows twice as much time on weights as doing yoga. In other words, weights should be double the amount of time of yoga. For the first one, that actually does work because weights are 30%, yoga is 15%. Multiplying that by 2, we get 30. The second one, weights are also twice as much time as yoga. Yoga times 2 gives us that, so that's good there. The third one, weights are not twice as much. They're 4 times as much here. So see, that's out. And then the last one, weights are again not twice as much as yoga, so the last one's out as well. The next part's a mouthful. That the time spent on cardio is equal to the time spent on weights and yoga combined. In other words, if we combine weights and yoga, add those together, combine them, that should equal the cardio amount. For the first one, cardio is 45%. Is that going to be weights and yoga combined? Well, it is, because 30 plus 15 does give us 45. So this is the correct one, because the next one, weights and yoga, those combine to 30, which doesn't equal the cardio there. So B, that's right out, and A, that's the winner. But the real question, how many of these people are influencers? Let me know what questions you have, what else you want me to cover. Good luck, you got these. We'll see you in the next video. Toodles.